Most people spend their lives working on their jobs, their salaries, their position, and their titles, yet neglect the greatest asset they possess, their potential. Potential is the hidden ability placed within you that waits to be developed, refined, and expressed. It is not what you are doing today, but what you are capable of becoming tomorrow. When you work on your potential, you are preparing for a future that demands more than your current capacity. Potential does not announce itself loudly. It is often silent, uncelebrated, and unseen. That is why many people die with their greatest ideas, talents, and solutions still locked inside them. Comfort numbs urgency. Familiar routines replace growth. But life rewards those who intentionally stretch beyond what feels easy. You are not designed merely to survive, to repeat cycles, or to settle into average existence. You were designed to expand. Working on your potential requires discipline long before applause arrives. It means investing in yourself when no one is watching, learning when others are resting, and developing skills that your current environment does not yet demand. Preparation is not wasted time. It is silent alignment. When opportunity eventually arrives, and it always does, it will not ask if you are interested. It will only reveal whether you are ready. Many people confuse potential with talent. Talent is what you can do naturally. Potential is what you can become intentionally. Talent without development becomes a burden, but potential refined through discipline becomes influence. Growth is not accidental. It is a daily decision to improve thinking, strengthen character, and sharpen vision. You cannot expect a different future with an undeveloped mind. Working on your potential also means embracing responsibility. Responsibility is the price of greatness. The more capacity you develop, the more impact you are expected to carry. That is why growth can feel uncomfortable. It stretches your identity. You must let go of old labels, limiting beliefs, and past versions of yourself that no longer match where you are going. Growth demands separation from mediocrity, including the mediocrity you may have accepted within yourself. Your environment may not recognize your potential, but that does not reduce its value. History proves that most transformative individuals were misunderstood before they were celebrated. Do not wait for permission to grow. Do not wait for validation to improve. Work on your potential in private, and your results will eventually speak in public. The tragedy is not failure. The tragedy is unused ability. You owe the world the best version of yourself, not because of applause, but because purpose demands expression. When you work on your potential, you honor your design. You prepare yourself to solve problems, to lead with wisdom, and to leave a legacy that outlives you. Do not ask if the time is right. The time becomes right when you decide to grow. Work on your potential today, because tomorrow will require more than who you are right now. Most people allow their current position to define their identity, believe that where they stand today is the full measure of who they are. But position is temporary, while potential is permanent until it is used. Your title, your job, your environment, and even your present results are not accurate indicators of your true capacity. They are simply snapshots of a moment in your journey. Potential is always greater than position, because potential speaks to what you can become, not just what you are managing right now. Your current position is shaped by past decisions, past preparation, and past levels of awareness. It reflects where you have been, not where you are capable of going. Many people mistake familiarity for destiny. They grow comfortable with roles that once challenged them and assume that comfort means completion. In reality, comfort often signals stagnation. Potential begins where comfort ends, because growth requires stretching beyond what is familiar and easy. Position often limits perception. When you see yourself only through the lens of what you do today, you unconsciously lower your expectations for tomorrow. You start to manage life instead of mastering it. But potential refuses to be confined by labels. It is not impressed by your job description or restricted by your past failures. Potential operates on possibility, not history. It asks a different question, not what am I doing, but what am I capable of becoming? Many people remain in small positions not because they lack ability, but because they stop developing. Development is the bridge between position and potential. Without intentional growth, potential remains dormant and position becomes a prison. Growth demands learning, discipline, and a willingness to outgrow previous versions of yourself. Every time you sharpen your thinking, strengthen your character, or acquire new skills, you expand your capacity beyond your current role. It is important to understand that potential does not announce itself with immediate results. It often grows quietly, unseen by others, and sometimes even doubted by yourself. That is why patience is essential. When your position does not yet match your potential, it is not a sign of delay. It is an invitation to prepare. Preparation aligns you with future responsibility. What you are developing now will determine what you can handle later. Position can be given, but potential must be cultivated. Titles can be assigned overnight, but capacity takes time to build. When people are promoted beyond their potential, they collapse under pressure. But when potential exceeds position, elevation becomes natural and sustainable. That is why working on yourself is never wasted effort. Every hour spent learning, reflecting, and refining your abilities is an investment in a future that has not yet arrived, but is already forming. Potential also challenges you to let go of comparisons. Measuring yourself against others in similar positions blinds you to your unique design. Two people can share the same role yet possess vastly different capacities. Your responsibility is not to match someone else's pace, but to fully develop what has been entrusted to you. When you honor your potential, your journey becomes authentic and your impact becomes distinct. There will be moments when your environment underestimates you because it only sees your position. Do not allow that limitation to become your mindset. The greatest breakthroughs often come from individuals who refuse to let their surroundings dictate their self-belief. Your potential is not validated by recognition, it is validated by growth. Keep developing even when no one is watching. Eventually, your position will catch up to your preparation. Expansion is inevitable when development is consistent. What once seemed beyond reach will become manageable because you have grown into it. When opportunity appears, it will not ask if you feel ready. It will simply reveal whether your potential has been cultivated. Never reduce your life to your current role. You are more than where you stand today. Your position is a platform, not a destination. Potential is the true measure of your future. And when you commit to developing it, you ensure that your next level will not surprise you. It will simply reveal who you have been becoming all along. Many people desire visible success, fulfillment, and impact without first committing to the unseen work that makes those outcomes possible. They want manifestation without maturation, results without refinement, and elevation without preparation. Yet the order of life is unchanging. Development always comes before manifestation. What appears in your life externally is only a reflection of what has been built within you internally. Nothing sustainable manifests unless it has first been developed. Development is the silent season where capacity is formed. It is the period when discipline replaces excitement and consistency matters more than recognition. During this stage, there are often little applause and few visible rewards. Progress feels slow and doubt can creep in. But this is not wasted time. It is necessary alignment. What you are becoming in private determines what you will be able to carry in public. Without development, manifestation becomes fragile and short-lived. Manifestation attracts attention, but development builds endurance. Many people collapse under success because their character, mindset, or skills were not prepared to sustain what suddenly appeared. When manifestation arrives before development, it exposes weaknesses rather than celebrating strength. That is why timing matters. Delay is not denial, it is often protection. Development ensures that when opportunities arrive, they do not overwhelm you but expand you. Every level of manifestation requires a matching level of development. Increased influence demands emotional maturity. Greater responsibility requires disciplined thinking. Expanded opportunity requires refined skills. Life does not promote you based on desire. It promotes you based on readiness. Development is how readiness is formed. It stretches your capacity gradually so that growth feels challenging but not destructive. Development also reshapes identity. Before anything changes around you, something must change within you. Old mindsets cannot manage new realities. You cannot think small and handle something great. Development teaches you how to see differently, decide differently, and respond differently. It rewires habits and strengthens values. By the time manifestation occurs, you are no longer the person you used to be. You have evolved to match what is coming. The most dangerous desire is to arrive somewhere you have not been prepared to stand. Development protects you from premature exposure. It builds stability beneath success so that external results do not define your worth or control your direction. When development is prioritized, manifestation becomes a natural outcome rather than a desperate pursuit. You stop chasing results and start attracting them through growth. Many abandon development because it feels slow and unrewarding, but development compounds quietly. Small daily disciplines accumulate into massive transformation. Every book read, every skill practiced, every habit refined adds to your internal structure. Even when nothing seems to be changing externally, something significant is forming internally. Growth does not need to be visible to be valuable. Development also teaches patience. It trains you to respect process and timing. When you understand that manifestation is the byproduct of preparation, you stop rushing life and start trusting it. You learn that what is meant to last cannot be hurried. Sustainable success is never accidental. It is the result of deliberate and consistent development. When manifestation finally arrives, it feels less dramatic than imagined because you have already grown into it. What once seemed impossible now feels appropriate. This is the reward of development. It normalizes what once intimidated you. You do not have to pretend, perform, or prove yourself. You simply operate from who you have become. Never despise the season of development. It is not a delay, it is a gift. It is life's way of preparing you for expansion without collapse. If you commit to development, manifestation will follow in its time and in its order. What you build within yourself today determines what you will experience tomorrow. Development precedes manifestation. And honoring that sequence is the foundation of lasting impact. Many people possess remarkable ability yet lie far below their true capacity, not because they lack talent, but because their potential remains undisciplined. Ability without discipline is like a locked door with a key that is never turned. Discipline is what activates what already exists within you. It is the structured commitment to growth that unlocks dormant ability and transforms possibility into performance. Dormant ability is not absent ability, it is unused potential. It lies hidden beneath excuses, comfort, and inconsistency. People often wait for motivation, inspiration, or perfect condition before taking action. But discipline does not wait for feelings. Discipline acts despite them. It creates momentum when motivation fades and consistency when enthusiasm disappears. This is why discipline, not talent, determines long-term effectiveness. Discipline gives direction to ability. Raw talent without structure becomes scattered and wasted. When ability is not trained, refined, and focused, it lacks impact. Discipline organizes effort, sharpens skill, and channels energy toward meaningful outcomes. It replaces random action with intentional progress. Every disciplined routine strengthens capacity and brings clarity to purpose. Growth does not respond to desire. It responds to habits. What you repeatedly practice becomes powerful. Discipline turns small, daily actions into compound growth. Reading consistently strengthens understanding. Practicing consistently refines skill. Thinking intentionally reshapes mindset. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes natural. And what once felt impossible becomes manageable. This is the quiet power of discipline. It builds strength gradually without spectacle. Many resist discipline because it feels restrictive. But discipline does not limit freedom, it creates it. When your abilities are undisciplined, you are controlled by distraction, inconsistency, and impulse. Discipline liberates you from these forces by giving you control over your time, focus, and decisions. It allows you to direct your life instead of reacting to it. True freedom is not the absence of structure, but the presence of self-mastery. Dormant ability often remains hidden because comfort numbs urgency. Without pressure, intentional challenge, ability stays undeveloped. Discipline introduces healthy tension. It pushes you beyond what is easy and familiar. That discomfort is not punishment, it is proof of expansion. Each disciplined choice stretches your limits and reveals new layers of capacity you did not know existed. Discipline also builds confidence rooted in evidence, not emotion. Confidence that comes from affirmation can fade, but confidence built through discipline is stable. When you show up consistently for your growth, you trust yourself. You know what you can handle because you have prepared for it. Discipline eliminates self-doubt by replacing it with demonstrated ability. The absence of discipline keeps people trapped in cycles of regret. They see glimpses of what they could become, but lack the structure to sustain growth. Discipline bridges that gap. It turns intention into identity. Over time, disciplined actions shape character, and character sustains success. Ability may open doors, but discipline keeps them open. Discipline also protects ability from misuse. Without maturity and restraint, ability can become destructive. Discipline aligns ability with values, ensuring that growth benefits both you and others. It teaches patience, responsibility, and stewardship. The more ability you unlock, the greater your obligation to manage it wisely. You do not need more ability, you need more discipline. What you are searching for externally already exists within you, waiting for activation. Discipline is the key that unlocks it. Start with small, consistent commitments. Honor your routines. Respect your process. Over time, what was once dormant will become dominant. When discipline becomes a lifestyle, ability rises to meet it. You stop wondering what you are capable of and start experiencing it. Discipline does not change who you are. It reveals who you were designed to be. Many people pursue growth believing it will lead to ease, comfort, and freedom from pressure. They imagine that personal development will simplify life and remove burdens. But true growth does not reduce responsibility, it attracts it. Growth expands capacity, and expanded capacity invites greater demands. Life assigns responsibility to those who have proven they can carry more. Comfort is not the reward of growth, responsibility is. When you grow, your awareness increases. You see more, understand more, and recognize problems others overlook. With that awareness comes accountability. Once you know better, you are expected to do better. Growth removes the innocence of ignorance. You can no longer pretend you do not see what needs attention. Responsibility follows insight because insight demands action. Growth also increases influence. As you develop skills, wisdom, and character, people begin to look to you for guidance and solutions. Influence is not a privilege without weight. It is a burden that requires maturity. The more people trust you, the more they rely on your decisions. Growth positions you where your choices affect others, not just yourself. That is why leadership is often heavy. It is the byproduct of development. Comfort avoids pressure, but growth invites it. Pressure is not an enemy. It is a signal that you are operating at a higher level. Muscles grow under resistance, and character strengthens under responsibility. Without pressure, growth stagnates. Responsibility stretches you, forcing you to apply what you have learned. It reveals whether your development is real or theoretical. Many abandon growth when they realize it costs ease. They retreat to familiar patterns where expectations are low and accountability is minimal. But comfort is deceptive. It feels safe, yet it slowly diminishes capacity. Growth, though demanding, expands life. Responsibility may feel heavy at first, but it sharpens focus, deepens purpose, and strengthens resilience. Growth also changes how you manage time and energy. As responsibility increases, careless living becomes impossible. You must become intentional with priorities, boundaries, and decisions. Growth does not allow laziness to coexist with progress. It demands discipline and stewardship. This is why not everyone wants growth. They want results without obligation. But responsibility is the price of significance. With growth comes expectation. People expect consistency, integrity, and reliability from those who have developed themselves. Excuses that once worked no longer apply. Growth removes your ability to hide behind immaturity. You are held to a higher standard because you have chosen to rise. This is not punishment. It is recognition of your capacity. Responsibility also requires sacrifice. As you grow, you may have to let go of certain freedoms, habits, or relationships that cannot support your next level. Growth refines your choices. It forces you to decide what matters most. Responsibility demands alignment between values and actions. What you tolerate and how you respond begin to shape outcomes far beyond yourself. Growth does not promise comfort, but it offers meaning. Responsibility gives purpose to effort and direction to ability. Carrying weight that matches your capacity brings fulfillment that comfort never can. Comfort numbs ambition. Responsibility sharpens it. One keeps you stagnant. The other keeps you expanding. Those who embrace responsibility grow stronger because they understand its role. They stop asking for easier lives and start asking for greater capacity. Growth is not about escaping pressure. It is about becoming capable of handling it. When you accept responsibility, you step into significance. Do not fear the weight that growth brings. It is evidence that you have expanded. Comfort is temporary, but responsibility produces legacy. Growth attracts responsibility. And those who embrace it discover the depth of who they were meant to become. Unused potential is one of the greatest yet least acknowledged losses in the world. It makes no sound, leaves no visible damage, and attracts no public attention, yet its impact is profound. When potential remains undeveloped, the world is deprived of ideas that could have solved problems, leadership that could have guided others, creativity that could have inspired change, and wisdom that could have transformed lives. This loss is silent, but it is real. Every person carries within them unique abilities, insights, and capacities meant to serve a purpose beyond themselves. Potential is not given randomly, it is entrusted. When it is ignored or neglected, it does not simply disappear, it becomes absence. The absence of solutions, the absence of innovation, the absence of example. The world continues, but it does so without something it needed. Unused potential often hides behind fear. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of change, and fear of responsibility keep people from developing what lies within them. Others bury their potential under comfort, choosing familiarity over growth. Some become distracted by survival and never move towards significance. None of these reasons erase the loss, they only explain it. The cost is still paid by a world that never receives what could have been offered. The tragedy of unused potential is that it is invisible. No one mourns, the book never written, the business never started, the leader never developed, or the voice never raised. There are no ceremonies for unfulfilled capacity. Yet generations can be affected by what one person failed to become. Potential delayed too long often expires without expression, leaving only regret. Unused potential also diminishes the individual. When people ignore their growth, they live beneath their design. This creates internal conflict, a quiet dissatisfaction that no achievement can silence. Many experience frustration without knowing its source. It is the tension between who they are and who they were meant to become. Living with unused potential is exhausting because it requires constant suppression of inner calling. The world does not need perfection, it needs participation. Potential does not demand flawlessness, it demands development. Many wait until they feel ready, confident, or qualified before acting. But readiness often comes through action, not before it. When people delay growth indefinitely, the world loses time. Progress slows and opportunities pass unmet. Unused potential also limits collective progress. Advancement depends on contribution. When individuals withhold their abilities, the burden shifts to others, often overwhelming them. Communities, organizations, and families suffer when capable people remain passive. What one person refuses to develop, another must carry alone. The responsibility for potential is personal, but the impacts of neglect is communal. You do not develop potential only for yourself. You develop it for those your life is meant to touch. Someone's breakthrough may be connected to your courage. Someone's healing may depend on your voice. Someone's future may be shaped by your example. When potential remains unused, those connections are broken before they form. Time does not wait for potential to be recognized. Every season missed narrows future possibilities. This is not to create pressure, but awareness. Life is generous with opportunity, but strict with time. The sooner potential is engaged, the more it can multiply. Unused potential is not loud, but it is costly. It leaves gaps where influence should have been and silence where solutions were needed. The greatest regret is not failure, but never attempting to become what you were capable of being. The world does not need you to be famous or perfect. It needs you to be faithful to your growth. When you develop what is within you, you reduce a silent loss and replace it with lasting impact. Your potential is not yours alone. What you do with it matters more than you realize.